everyone, welcome to New Bear. Today we're going to look at Celtic Picots. To make Celtic Picots you're going to need a cylindrical picot gauge. Something like a pencil or a small straw is fine. I like to use the end of crochet hooks. So I have hooks in varying sizes, which allows me to make picots in varying sizes. Starting with our chain, I've worked a few stitches to get me to the point where I want my picot. We're going to take our working thread and tie a loose knot. So we're taking either the second shuttle thread or the ball thread, wrapping it around our hand, passing our shuttle or our ball up through the loop to create a knot. Take your picot gauge, place it through the loop, hold that up against your stitches and tighten your knot. Sit your hand up for your chain. Make first half of the next double stitch and adjust your thread so that that stitch sits up against the last one. Second half. Once that first stitch is made, we can remove our gauge and finish out our count. If we're working self-closing mock rings, we can add the knots like we do when we work a chain. We just add them as we need them. If we're making true rings, we need to add the knots before we begin our ring. It's the same as when we're working with beads. We can't get the beads on the loop of our ring once we've started our stitches. So they need to be added at the beginning. So holding your thread in the pinch, take it around the back of your hand, come up over your last two fingers, pass your shuttle up through the loop, and then continue on into the pinch. We have just put a knot in our ring thread. Show you that again. In the pinch, around the back, over the top of your last two fingers, up from underneath to make your knot, and back up into the pinch. Start making your stitches. So when we need to open up our ring, we need to work the thread through the knot. Leave your fingers in the knot or you'll lose it. So when we pull on this thread here, we need to work it all the way through. When we're ready for our picot, we're going to tighten our ring up now. The excess thread from our knot is going to go into our ring. And this gives us quite a large loop, which is okay, but it can be tricky to work with. So we're going to take some of the excess thread out just by tightening our ring a little bit. Make sure you can still get your fingers out. And if we can, we're going to swap our fingers for a gauge. So adjust your threads, take your gauge up to the top where your stitches are. Make your next double stitch and bring that in so it sits up against your last double stitch. Make the second half. Once that first stitch is made, we can remove our gauge and finish out our stitch count. Now adjusting our picot, we have a Celtic centre. If we're wanting more than one Celtic picot, we wrap each one of our fingers like we did before. So from the pinch, we loop and come up, loop, come up, and loop, and come up, and back into the pinch. At this point, we hope no one rings the doorbell. So start your stitches. When you need to open your ring, we need to work the thread through each knot, starting with the pinky finger, and work your way around. Swap your fingers for a gauge. And adjust your threads before you continue on with your stitches. We now have 6 points where we can join to. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.